Hello, a very warm welcome to Handcrafts with Nadine. My name is Nadine and I'm coming to you from northern New South Wales, Australia, though I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. I have been living in Australia for the past 12 years with my husband, who's Australian, our two teenage daughters, and our 2-year-old Labrador bear. It's very warm today. I'm in my new location, again, not in my bedroom. I'm in the lounge room, which has air conditioning, which I gladly have on today, as it is 31 degrees Celsius today, so even though it's still springtime. Okay, today I'm going to be talking to you about a new cast on, which it's a knit, and it's something that I'm making to go with, to match the hat that I knit last week. My work in progress, which is the HILJA Dress. I'm excited about my progress there. My husband has asked me to sew him some linen shorts. So I've got some fabric and yeah, I don't have a pattern. So yeah, looking for maybe some advice on a pattern. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And finally, this dress that I'm wearing is yeah, if you watched my episode last week, it's a dress that I have thrifted, and it originally came with these really beautiful puffy sleeves, and when I saw it in the shop on the hanger, I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. It was $20. It's a dress from Seed, which is, you know, a pretty expensive brand here in Australia, and 100% linen. I love the color. It is probably a size or two too big for me, but anyways, all to say is it had these shoulders, which when I put it on my body, I was like, ooh, I feel like I look too much like I've got, you know, football shoulder pads in, because I'm quite broad. Like I said last week, I was a swimmer, water polo player. So I've got very broad shoulders, and that on top of the perhaps garment that was a little bit too big and the puffy shoulders, I was not loving it. So I was debating between two options. One was to remove the sleeves, which, spoiler alert, I have done. And the second one was, if that didn't work out, I was going to maybe make it into a skirt, like a very long tiered skirt. So, but yeah, I'm very happy to say that this first option A worked. And thank you for those of you who commented last week. A lot of you were recommending that I try the sleeves. And yeah, it worked. I'm very pleased. I'm gonna talk more about it at the end of the video. I clipped myself talking about my process, so I took a little video of how I went about doing that, all the steps, and so yeah, there's a video of me giving like a little mini tutorial of what I did, followed by just some clips along with some music to just chill out, knit to, or whatever you're up to, and just shows you all the steps that I went through. And yeah, don't look too close, because it's not perfect. And that is to say also, let me stand up. I've got my new phone. I've got it on cinematic mode, and so I'm really hoping that I'm still in focus. So yeah, here it is. I don't know if you can see right down to the bottom. It's so nice. I'm so happy. Yeah, you can see by the smile on my face that I really love it. It is a bit big, and I was a bit worried that this was going to be go down too deep, and it kind of does. Like, it shows my bra a little bit, but I don't really care. It's fine. It's nice and breezy, and I actually quite like that it's a little bit, there's more ease than I normally make in my garments. But yeah, I like it. It's very breezy and perfect for a warm day like today. Okay, so yeah, stay tuned. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I went about removing the sleeves. Yeah, it went pretty smoothly. Okay, so if you remember last week, I had this surprised finished object, which was this hat. This hat is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's called, I think it's called Hat with Braids. So it's a cabled pattern. I don't know if you can see it. So I really like it because the other cables, I haven't done that many things with cables, but some that I've done have had where the cable just keeps going over itself in the same direction. And I really like this one because it actually looks like braids, or plaits, as they say here in Australia. So I really love that. And then I know for Canada, we're visiting Canada for Christmas. We're definitely gonna need mittens as well. So my mom has moved to Calgary, and last time we went to visit her, no joke, with the wind chill factor one day, it was minus 47 degrees Celsius. So the weather in Calgary is no joke. It did, however, get up to like, I think -5. Did it get to 0? I don't know. But the weather, like every day it changes, and it can change, you know, drastically even in one day. It's pretty crazy. But we're definitely gonna need mittens and hats and, you know, all the trimmings. So I had leftover of this yarn. This yarn was Heirloom Cozy Comfort. It's a DK yarn, which is, I mentioned last week what the composition, oh, hang on a second. Oh, lucky, I've got the tag. It is 50 grams, 8 ply, which is DK, 120 meters, and it is made up of 70% wool, 17% silk, and 13% alpaca. So it's basically like holding a fingering weight wool yarn with a silk mohair, but it's done it all for you. It's already done. You don't have to worry about holding 2 strands, balls tangling up and mixing together. So yeah, it was really, really great. And oh yeah, sidebar before I forget. The shop that I bought it at was a yarn store in Nimbin. And I spoke last week about how it all reeked of mothballs that I only noticed after I bought everything. So the good news is, after I washed it, last week I recorded my video while it was still damp and it stunk to high heavens. It was like almost the worst. But then I let it outside in the sun to dry after having actually wet it, and the mothball smell is finally gone. I have been sunning the balls outside as is, and at the end of the day I said it would smell great, and then as soon as, you know, the next morning came around, they would smell again. But I'm really happy to report that the mothball smell is finally gone. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. Right, so this yarn, okay, so I decided to make a pair of mittens to match. And I was kind of looking on Ravelry for a similar cable pattern to kind of match, make a little, you know, matching set since I had the leftover yarn. And I couldn't really find anything. And then I did come across some fingerless gloves, which had a cable pattern. They are, hang on a second, cabled fingerless gloves. That's what they're called. And the designer is Kimberley Gintar, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. So it's another free pattern on Ravelry, and it wasn't quite, yeah, it's not exactly what I'm after. I certainly do not want fingerless gloves for Calgary when it's -47. I'm definitely going to need fingered gloves. So yeah, no, mittens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the numbers for this free pattern and go up to, you know, where the finger stops and the fingerless gloves ends, and then I'm just gonna follow the pattern of, it's a tin can knits pattern, also a free pattern. I wrote it down. I think it's called World's Easiest Mittens. So that's another free pattern, and I'm just gonna follow how they say to do the decreases. I did knit my mom a pair of mittens last year. I just can't remember how to do it, but yeah, anyways, it's quite simple. But from, yeah, where that pattern ends, I'm just gonna continue on and then, you know, make a little thumb, and then I think it's gonna be perfect. So I'll show the picture again, I think, and then you'll see that at first glance, it looks like it's the same cable that I used in this one, which is the Braids. So they're basically 3, 3, and 3 stitches, and these 2 cross over, and then these 2 cross over, and then, you know, keeps going like that, like a braid. And I thought that was what was in this pattern, and so I started going, and you start in ribbing, but pretty soon, after a couple of rows, you start doing the cable while you're still doing the ribbing of the cuff, and then eventually the rest of that will just become stockinette, and the cable will just run one time. up the whole mitten. And so I was going, knitting away, and I think looking at it, it wasn't exactly the same, but I thought, oh, I can adjust it, because I remembered this pattern had 3 stitches going over 3 stitches, and this free pattern had, I think it was something like 4 going over 2. So I was like, oh, that's not quite right, but I'll just make it to what mine was. And then after I crossed over the second row, I looked at it and went, oh, that is not even close to being the same cable. And then, yeah, I looked at the picture again. I was like, no, that's not the same. So I was like, oh, do I start over? But basically I decided that I just ripped down to where I did my first crossover cable, because I realized the one in that pattern was just a six stitch with just these ones crossing over. And it was missing this one so that it could cross over and make an actual braid. I hope this makes sense. So basically I frogged down to where I started doing the first crossover, and then I crossed over these 3 over these 3, and then the rest of these other stitches were in ribbing. So I changed this to ribbing to just 3 stitches of knitting. And I think I ended up having to knit 2 together in order to, on the outside of your cables, you have to make sure that you have a purl stitch. So in order to make sure I had a purl stitch on the outside of my cable, I had to knit 2 together. So yeah, so then I went away at that. I'm obviously not very far, but I don't know if you can see. Again, I'm not sure what the cinematic thing is going to affect my filming. Hopefully I'm not blurry. But yeah, it worked really well. And yeah, I inserted a little video at the beginning that shows you. So I'm very pleased with that, and I think it's gonna look super cute. Yeah, and I'm thinking of wearing this while I'm in Canada, and then we're only staying for a couple weeks, and then when we leave, I'm thinking of just leaving it for my mom as a thank you present / Christmas present, or one of her Christmas presents. Yeah. All right. Okay, so the other, my HILJA dress. I have almost forgot because it's behind me. Okay, so last week I was going on about how I was getting super bored knitting this dress. I love it so much. I'm really pleased with how it's turning out. It looks to me like a hinterland dress, which I love. And I went ahead and did the finishings at the beginning. So you can see I've got all the ribbing done at the neck, and I've done the button band. I've even sewn on the buttons. And so yeah, there's a lot going on at the beginning. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to make sure that this was gonna fit me properly before I went on and knit an entire skirt. So yeah, it wasn't just because I wanted to get to, do all the exciting stuff at first. But that being said, yeah, then all I had left was knitting it around in stockinette, and it was actually getting quite boring. So it's basically two strands of Holst Coast together, which are, I think, a lace weight. So it's basically a fingering weight dress knit on 4mm needles. So, very small needles, a lot of stitches going around. And I was just getting quite bored of it, to be honest. And that's why I ended up making this very elaborately cabled hat, because yeah, I just needed something a little bit more exciting, I guess. I do like knitting stockinette, but this was just getting to be a bit much. So yeah, so when I finished my hat last week, on last week's video, I had mentioned that I had an idea that I was going to make a lace panel on the bottom of the HILJA dress instead of the ribbing. So I had something to look forward to. So basically, it worked. I managed to knit, I think I was missing 9 centimeters. So I managed to knit the 9 centimeters since last week's video. And yeah, so my skirt is, the required amount. It's a pay for pattern, so I won't say how long. But yeah, so I'm ready to start my lace paneling. Thank you so much for those of you who commented on last week's video, who said that they suggest that I do the lace panel quite long, and that was my intention. I had showed the lace motif that I'm going to use, which I have used on a few other garments, and on those tops I had just done a couple of centimeters of the lace paneling, but on The HILJA Dress, yeah, I plan to make it at least 10 centimeters long, this lace panel. So I'll put a photo. I forgot to put a photo last week, and I think I called it the wrong thing. I think I called it mermaid lace. It's actually mermaid's tail lace, or it's also called fishtail lace. So it's not a paid for thing. It's just, you know, if you just Google mermaid's tail lace or fishtail lace, you'll find lots of tutorials on how to do it. And it's very easy. And what I really like about it is it kind of, I guess the reason it's called fishtail or mermaid's tail is it kind of has these like waves in it. And then I'm going to finish it off at the bottom with some crochet shell stitch. Oh, there you go, going in with the mermaid, fish, and shell theme. They kind of go together perfect, don't they? Yeah, so I'm very excited to say that I did the first row of the lace. So basically this lace pattern is an 8-stitch repeat. And so I had to make sure that my dress had an 8-stitch repeat. So what I did was I knitted around and I counted. So I put a stitch marker, and then I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I didn't put stitch markers all along. I just kind of kept track as I was knitting. And then when I got to the end, I saw that the last one had 3 stitches in it, and it had to be 8. So then I had to make the decision, do I absorb those 3 stitches into the dress, or do I add 5 stitches to the bottom of the dress? So I decided to add stitches because, yeah, I just so the shape didn't come in at all. I'm not too sure what effect the lace is going to have on it, if the lace will open up the bottom. But anyways, I think I wouldn't mind if the skirt opens up at the bottom anyways, because, you know, it's always extra room for walking. And yeah, I thought it would look pretty if it comes out a little bit anyways. So I feel like my count wasn't off. I didn't even check with the pattern, but I had an odd number of stitches. And so I counted, I think I had, I don't know, 259, which I don't even think is right. I must have dropped or gained some stitches along the way. But anyways, so I looked at that and I said, okay, I've got to add 5 stitches on 259 stitches. So basically I'll do an increase, which I did KFB, knit front back, every 50 stitches. And so that's what I did. I knit 1 row where I added KFB every 50 stitches, and then came back to my stitch marker ready to go for the lace. And then, yeah, so I've done 1 row. I don't think it's really worth showing you up close because yeah, all you see is just little holes. So yeah, and the lace pattern is going to be knit, where you do lace 1 row and then 1 row stockinette. So it's definitely going to be more fun, more engaging, and I feel like it's going to make it go faster because I'm going to, you know, like, okay, let's do the knit row. Okay, let's do the lace row. And then, yeah. So I'm very happy about that. I think it's going to look really cool as well. Okay, back to sewing. The last thing I'm going to talk about is my husband. Oh yeah, so when I bought this yarn in that shop in Nimbin, they also had fabric. So I bought this, I guess I'm going through a bit of a brown phase. A lot of the things I've been making lately have been brown. But anyways, I bought this lovely brown linen. It's quite, okay, I'm not an expert in fabric. It seems to me to be quite heavyweight, or maybe medium to heavyweight. It's definitely not very see-through. And if I look closely at it, I feel like it's woven in herringbone. So yeah, it's quite dense. Anyways, my husband really liked it, and I bought 3 meters of it. It's not very wide, but there's heaps there. And I think it was $18 a meter, so it was a really good price. And he wants me to make him shorts. So I did not make these shorts. These are shorts. These are from the market. These are from the market in Byron Bay, the artisan market. The Twilight Artisan Market? It's the market that we scoop ice cream at in the winter. And he bought these from another maker there. Does he have? I don't think he has his logo name, but it's got a little whale embroidered in the bottom. They're super cute, and he loves these shorts. So I'm going to, and yeah, the guy's not there anymore. But yeah, I thought that I would try to recreate them. So I'm not sure if my sewing skills are quite there, but I did find some, I just Googled free men's sewing tutorials, linen shorts, and then I saw quite a few videos came up with, you know, how to put them together. So I figured if I trace this out onto my fabric, adding a seam allowance, and then following the how-to of the tutorials, I think I can kind of make it work. Yeah, so I've made pants for myself before with elastic waist. I guess the extra step is going to be adding a tie, and then adding a zip, well, a fly. And a few of the tutorials that I saw had the fly, but it was fake, like there wasn't actually anything there. This one does have a zip, but it doesn't undo right to the top. I think we can imagine what that's for. And then it also has a pocket at the back. And my husband has quite a hard time finding shorts that fit him. He's got really thick legs, like he's got very muscular legs, and they fit him really well. And like normally, you know, shorts and pants are really tight on his thighs for where they fit him in the waist. So I'm very happy to try to recreate these shorts. And yeah, does anyone have any tips on doing that before? Have they done that before? Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll practice on an old sheet or something, and just to see if it's gonna work before I actually cut into this fabric. Yeah, but those are my future plans and my current plans. What are your plans? What are you making? I really hope that you get to make something beautiful with your hands this week. I'm having so much fun making these videos, and I really look forward to talking to you again next week. And hopefully I'll have at least one finished mitten, as well as lots of progress on my HILJA dress. I don't think I'll be finished it by next week, but you never know. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and would like to see some more. Thanks again. Bye. Okay, so just to show you the inside, I've got my stitch ripper, and having a look at it. So it has been serged. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take my stitch ripper, seam ripper, stitch ripper, and this line here, I'm going to have to rip that out. And I'm not going to attempt to undo that, but I think once I've undone this line, I'll take some scissors and just snip kind of close to there and cut it off. That way I won't have to worry about the raw ends for my second phase, which is going to be sewing that under with either bias tape or potentially just folding it under and sewing it to make the new seam of the shorter sleeve. Wish me luck.